Isabel Rodriguez, and this is my science fair project, the Great Soap Race. So the purpose for this experiment is to find out which brand of soap will take longer to dissolve. The hypothesis for my experiment is I think the Palmolive brand will dissolve the slowest because of the ingredients it contains and because it does not look as creamy as the other brands. So how does my experiment relate to the real world? This experiment relates to the real world in terms of the current situation we are facing at the moment. COVID-19. The demand on soap is increasing, but the supply is decreasing in stores. Knowing what brand of soap will dissolve the slowest is helpful for buyers because it will allow buyers to invest in a soap that will last longer. The research done for my experiment is printed here. In my report, I talk about the different 3 brands I use: Irish Spring, Dial, and Palmolive. I also go in depth with the history about each soap and the ingredients. Click pause to continue reading. For my experiment, these are the materials you're going to need. You're going to need a pitcher with 3 cups of water, a measuring cup, 3 cups, 1/4 of 3 brands of soap, a labeling marker, a notebook, and a spoon. In order to complete this experiment, these are the 5 procedures you need to do. For this experiment, the first step is to label your cups. So we're going to label our first cup A1, B1, and C1. So each letter represents a different brand of soap. So I'm just going to quickly write that down on the side so we don't get confused at the end. So A is going to be our Dell soap. We're just going to represent it with a D. A B is going to be our Irish Spring, which I'm going to represent it with the I. A C is going to be our Palmolive, and I'm going to represent that with the P. So as you notice, I put 1 on each cup, and that's because it's going to be our first test. We're actually going to be doing this 2 times so we can have reliable data for our experiment. So our next step in our experiment is to put 1 cup of water in each cup. So we're going to use our measuring cup to do so. So we're going to measure 1 cup. Okay. And there we have our 3 cups of water. In our third step for this experiment, it's time to place our soap into the corresponding cup. So I'm going to put it in there. And again, in cup A, we have our Dale. Cup B, we have our Irish Spring. In our last cup, cup C, we have our Palmolive. Step 4 is to use a spoon to mix the cups each day. We'll be watching our 3 cups for the next few days, and we're going to be recording our data. Remember, we're going to conduct this test 2 other times to get reliable data. For our experiment, these are our variables. Our controlled variable is the same amount of cool water and the room temperature. The independent variable is the bar of soaps. The dependent variable is the time it takes to dissolve. After conducting this experiment, these are the results we received. In our chart, we have test 1, test 2, and test 3. For each test, we can see that Irish Spring is the soap that dissolves the slowest. All the numbers correspond to the days that it took for the soap to dissolve. The numbers here shown are reliable because they're roughly around the same number of days. After completing this experiment and looking at my results, this is the conclusion I came to. In conclusion, my hypothesis was wrong. I thought the Palmolive was going to dissolve the slowest, but it was actually the Irish Spring brand. While observing the bars of soap during the last few days, I got to see how a bar of soap dissolved. I now know that Irish Spring brand of soap will be more convenient to buy and use during these harsh conditions. For this experiment, here are my resources I used.